study.
Please do it. And as
Okay.
a part of it,
Super source.
not
Okay.
Superstore. It's not Superstore sales data. It's called coffee case study.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Microsoft Access file.
Okay. Okay.
It's an
I will.
access file.
Shani,
Okay.
on cluster, could you please explain that one more time?
Yes, yes. So let's do this thing. Let's open that file. If everybody could open that file, please. In that there's a question on clustering. Let's do that. So when you're opening, right, you will have to have the connection as once your Tableau Public opens. Make sure the connection that you're doing is an Access, Microsoft Access database. All right. So over here, it will be picking the name of the file, and you don't really have to do anything with the password and the work group. Sometimes when you're working in Access, depending on what level of security, depending on all different roles and level of security in an organization, you might have to give a password and so on and so forth. But since this is not related, it's not put in any server, none of this is going to be given. So all you have to do is browse for it. Once you select it, click open. All right.
Yes, Ishani.
Now, what is the question? Let's read that quickly. I'll tell you which question to work on.
We'll have 3 tables, right, Shani?
Correct. So this is one Access database. One database may have multiple tables in it. So this has multiple tables in it. So total of 3. We'll have to, before we solve any of these questions, first thing we'll have to do is go and understand the data. At the rule number 1, that is what we need to do all the time, right? If you don't have Access, then definitely you can't first open in Access and then look at the tables and understand it. So we can definitely, connect it. So let's look at the fact table. What is a fact table over here? So we have got things like margin, profit, sales, cost of goods sold, total expense, marketing, inventory, budget profit, budget. What is this? Budget, cost of goods sold, budget margin, budget sales. So it looks like if you look at it and it's got area code and the product code. So for a particular product ID, it is coffee data set, right? So it is talking about selling of coffees. So each coffee that a person is selling over here has a unique product ID. So a product ID is given, right? For that product ID in a given particular area, what was the budgeted profit? What were the budgeted cost of goods sold, margins and sales are given, as well as the actual profit, margin, sales and cost of goods sold are given to us. This part is clear?
Yes, Ishani.
Yeah. And then we have given what were the expenses, what are the total expenses, what was the marketing that we have spent, and what was the inventory that we have. All this information is given to us. Now, if I remove this and let's put location. Now, this helps us to understand that, remember we had area codes in which we were talking about marketing and all those things. So these are the area codes. So area code 203 means it is in the state of Connecticut. It falls under the market of East, and it is a small market that it's looking at. So we have small market and major markets. Over here, we have north, south, east, west as market in different states of USA. And these are the area codes associated with each of the state that we have. So location is also done. Now let's look at the product. In product, we have what are the products that we are selling. So for example, product ID 1. So what is product ID 1? Product ID 1 is a coffee. Amaretto is a, it might be the sub product kind of a thing, and it's a regular. So the coffee is divided into 2 parts, regular and decaf. And then which kind of coffee it is. It's Amaretto, it's Colombian, it's Irish, it's cafe latte, all these things are given. Data is clear,
Yes, Ishani.
Yes.
right? So if you look at the product table has a product ID, which will be unique. Correct?
Yes.
Yes.
And if you look at the location table also, there is an area code which is unique,
Yes.
right? Now comes a fact table with which both these tables will get connected. Now the issue, number one issue that you guys will face in this case is if I want to do my analysis, first thing, like you've already seen, we do relationships. We do relationship building of our tables. So once you drop a fact table and when you're going to try and create relationship of location, it is going to throw an error at you.
Right.
It says this data source uses connection that doesn't support multiple logical tables and a single logical table, open it, and then create in the physical layer. So remember when we were talking about relationship, I had told you that there's some data sets in which it is still relationships do not work, and this is one of those. So how do I make it connect? How do I go to the physical layer? This is a logical layer. How do you go to the physical layer?
You
There's a drop down.
Drop down, no.
Open.
double click on it.
Acha, or you double click on it.
Yeah.
Okay. When you double click on it, this is your physical layer. And what happens in physical layer? What are we trying to do?
Join.
Create joins. Deepika knows all answers today. She's on fire. And we are going to create joins over here. So we have this table in which all the information is there. Okay. Area codes are repeating multiple times. Budget, your product IDs may be repeating multiple times, right? Because let's say product ID 1. So just to give you an understanding, let's look at product ID 1. Product ID 1 is not happening one time. It is being sold in multiple areas, right? And in different areas, it has different sales, different marketing, different expenses associated with it, right? So it's not unique in this particular table. And similarly, if I, okay, remove, and similarly, if I pick an area code, let's say 206, now you will see that this 206 is also not unique because in one area, it's not that I'm going to only sell a Colombian coffee, right? I'm going to sell all the products. So this is information of all the products that we have. So all the products in this area code at the different given dates, what were the values? So I hope data is clear to everyone, how it is presented to us.
Yes.
Yes, Ishani.
Yeah. So now we'll create a join between location and fact. What type of table should this be? What kind of join should this be? And this is, you want an inner join?
All the information is in fact table. No?
All the information in the fact table. So we are just trying to bring information from location to fact. So main table is what?
The fact.
My
Table.
fact table, right? My fact table is my main table. So right outer, why right outer? Right would make location important, right? Left, correct.
Left.
So it has to be a left join. Left join makes sense and it is associated with each other based on area code. Makes sense, correct?
Yes.
Right? What should be the next step? See, this part of your group, these kind of things for your group is not very solid. So I want more people to start chiming in with the answers. This is your weak area. SQL, working with multiple tables.
Ishani, could you please scroll
Explain.
this?
Huh?
Could you please scroll this on the right?
On the right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now with the fact table location, all the columns are there. Right? When you create joins, you are actually increasing the width of your table. So the information from one table comes to the other table. And since we can't, we are not writing custom queries over here in SQL, though you can if you want to, but we are not. So it's giving us all the columns from the location table. Next, what should we do?
Ishani, have we put area code equals area code location? Is that so? We
Otherwise,
select-
join cannot create, na? It needs
Yeah, yeah.
something common.
Yeah, that's
Now-
what I was thinking. It's common in here and yours.
Yeah, and it takes itself because the name is exactly the same. If the names were not the same, like area code, and in, let's say one file it was code, Tableau would not have picked that up.
Yeah.
And then you will
Yeah.
have to manually do it, manually create a join. Okay.
Yes.
And next, we will again create a join with the
Product.
product. And this is where my joins, this is the part I don't like. Somehow I'm never able to drop it nicely. Come on, please. No, see. That.
Double click, it will work.
I know. No. It worked. It did. It seems. I never tried double clicking there. Wait. Move. Double click. Oh yeah, Arsha, thank you for saving my life. That was the the most irritating part for me in my work. So I used to love when they introduce relationships. Over here also, it makes sense to put a left join and on product ID because that's common between both of them.
Yes.
Yes.
Once this is done, we can close this physical layer and now we are ready to work. Okay, let's look at question number 4. It says, how is the marketing cost correlated to sales? Now, I have not given with respect to which dimension. So what do you think which dimension should be picked from business point of view? Marketing cost and sales should be done based on what? Should be done on based off your product IDs, should be done based on your area codes. What do you think it would be sensible to do?
First, let's
And
say
area code, Ishani.
Area
Product.
based upon product. Okay. What do
Area
other
code.
area code or both? We can put both also, right?
Yes.
We can have both also. So let's try to do this. Now, which chart will help me to do this? How is the marketing cost correlated to sales?
Scatter.
Scatter plot. Okay. So which fields do I need to use in this particular example question? Marketing
Marketing cost.
Yes, marketing
and sales.
and sales.
Not the budgeted one, okay? Be careful with that. Not the budgeted one. And now what we want to do based on, let's do it based on product ID or product?
Product ID.
Product ID. Okay, so this is how it is related with respect to the product ID. And if you also put area code, it becomes little, let's do Control Z. This is related to the product ID, right? And then if I wanted to see if there are certain products which are behaving in a certain manner, for that, what do? We go to analytics and we create clusters.
Cluster.
Now, when we are creating clusters, so marketing and sales is already a part of it, right? So if I leave it as it is, I'm getting 4 different clusters. This is cluster number 4. This is my cluster number 1. This is my cluster number 2 and cluster number 3. And in order to understand its behavior, how they are working, when I put in more marketing, will my sales increase or not? Very common question, right? Should I put more money in the market? Does it impact my sales or no? So then how do I get to know? So this is showing me there are 4 different, like the product ID can further be divided into 4 different categories, which are having a similar behavior. What should I do next to see how trend line? So now I'm going to pull the trend line and drop it over here. Okay. So which cluster do you think we should do more market? Like which cluster sales get affected by marketing?
Cluster 3.
Cluster 3. This is a positive correlation, right? This is a negative correlation. This is a negative correlation. This is almost like a flat thing, 0 into marketing. So what does this show? That marketing might not affect. And why it is coming like that? Because there's only one data point, right? Over here, there are 2 points. So it is sloped down. Over here is also slightly down. This cluster shows that yes, when you are doing marketing, it impacts the sale. And what is the equation? Equation is sales is equal to 2.75 into marketing plus 16,448.
I have one question on cluster.
Yes.
So how does cluster work on backend? I mean, how does
it see clustering, the basic concept? So it is a statistical model that run on in the backend called k-mean clustering. Okay, that's a statistical model. We don't have to really get into it. But what is really a cluster in a like if you have to understand in a very layman term, anything that behaves in a similar pattern, we group it together. All right. So for example, let's say we did Excel, we did VBA, we did SQL, we did Power BI, we are doing Tableau right now. Now, if Genpact comes to me and tells me that I want to create out of all these people that you've trained, IV, now you tell me who will be more suitable for my BI roles or BI projects. So what we'll do, we'll see who all are performing well in a particular item, that is, let's say visualization tools, and that becomes one cluster. So this is my BI cluster. Then who will work well in the ETL profiles? I'll pick everybody who's good in SQL and say, okay, this is one cluster of mine. Who will be good in automation? I'll pick Excel VB and say, okay, this is one cluster of mine. So how we'll make clusters? We'll make clusters based on similarities between the items. That's how it works.
Ishani, if we say column sales and rows marketing, will it make a difference?
Yes, it will make difference.
Sales and marketing, if you reverse it,
Yes.
it will make a difference. But typically, how do I decide is what do I want to find out? Like what I will be interested in calculating sales. If I put 1 rupee in marketing, how much will be my sales? That's my main goal, right?
Yeah.
So I will put what I want to find out on a y-axis. Why do I do this? Because the equation, what is this? This is just the equation of line. If you remember back in mathematics school days, we used to do y is equal to mx plus c. So y is the y-axis,
Yeah.
m is the slope, x is the value of your x-axis, and c is a constant. So sales
Right.
is on y-axis, marketing is on x-axis, 16,448 is your c, and 2.7 is the slope of this line. Okay, so if you reverse it, the only thing it will say, it will calculate marketing. Marketing is equal to something into sales plus this. So that equation doesn't make sense to read because I'm not here to calculate marketing. I'm here to calculate my sales.
Okay. So I understand this marketing, but what's this plus 1,600? What is that?
That is see, this is, like I said, this is the equation of a line.
Yeah.
Okay, so whenever you whenever you come up with the equation of a line, there's a constant value. Y is equal to mx plus c. A constant is already inbuilt in it.
Okay.
So that is
very
the
clear.
C part of the equation.
Okay, that will be common, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So in it's not just in statistics, we have, Shweta, dependent and independent variable.
It is-
Every data set has a dependent and independent
you already
variable.
gave the y equal to mx plus c. Before that one, they are two.
Oh, okay. No, but in the sense, not just because y is equal to mx plus c, but for example,
So
cost, profit, they are independent variables, right?
yes.
And if you talk about profit, that is a kind of a dependent variable.
Dependent variable. Yeah.
So every data set has it. Yeah, go ahead.
Typically, when it comes to how to put in the access, we, as I remember, when there's an independent variable, we tend to put in access, and when it is dependent, anything dependent variable, we put in on y-axis. That's why
Yeah.
y is equal to mx.
So in this, yeah. So in this case study, like I said, like how we decide is what we want to, our focus area is what is my sales value,
Yes.
right? That is my focus, not what is going to be my marketing based on sales. I'm
Yes.
deciding what is my sales based on marketing. And whatever I want to find out, I typically put it on y-axis. Gunjan, make sense?
That's it, Shami. Thanks.
Yeah, all right. So this becomes now another thing when we were creating clusters. Now, if I don't create clusters and I only leave the product ID with sales and marketing, I'm getting this line. Okay, which is again showing me the equation of line. It's showing a positive correlation for all the products. But this is a wrong way of doing analysis. Typically, you would want to do clustering and then do the analysis because not everything can be absolutely the same. And if I remove product ID and let's say if I put area code. So again, this is my line. As soon as I create a cluster, let's see what happens. It shows there are 3 clusters. Pretty much all of them are nice sloping lines. Right? All of them have good clusters over here. And another thing we can do is when we are working with clusters, if we also want to add new variables in creating clusters, then we can go over here and drop a particular dimension. So this is not cluster, and I cannot put a dimension. I can, sorry, cannot. No, I don't think so. That's a good idea. Dimension, based on dimension, I can't, but I can put more measures into it. Let's say if I do it based on, I've got this, and margin or profits. Let's try to drop profits. Now the clusters would change, right? So you can only have 2 measures that you typically drop when you're creating a scatter plot. But if there are more values which you want to see and the effect of them on the clustering, then while you're creating a cluster, when you have this window open, in that case, you can drop a value. Okay. And like Kshitij, what you were asking, if you want to go in depth, let's say something like this, the model returns a lot of value. One important value is P square value and R square value. R square value that you see when you look at any of the trend line, I'm not going to go into much depth. What R square value is, basically it gives you the distance. Like there's a line, there are points. So the points, the line may be such that it is passing through most of the points or it is away, right? So how close or how far it is, that is your R square value. Okay, even I'm not very good at all this. Chanchal, you're there? Let me see if Chanchal can rescue me. R square P value, you have a better understanding? What is R squared and P value?
I wouldn't take the risk.
You would not want to take the risk. See, there is no risk. I think Tanu is coming from the economic statistics background. Tanu?
Yes, Ishani.
You are from that background, right?
No.
No, why did I feel like that? Okay. Anyways, I always try to understand R square, P square, and
Can
every
give
time.
give it a short.
Huh?
Like I
Chanchal.
recall because stats was one of like few
Sure,
semesters.
Shweta. What is R square P value?
Yeah, P value I won't go in depth because it requires detailed answer. But R square in a simple terms I can explain because again I told that dependent or independent variable. Yeah, I'm audible. Okay, so the variance between that relationship between dependent and independent variable, in simple word we can say R square.
R square value.
Yeah.
I thought it's a variance from the trend line. How far
yes.
it is So how far it is, it just takes a distance and does an R square value to it. Correct?
Yes.
So I'm
And
also not
p-value,
too far. My R square is also quite good. Not too far from the concept.
p-value requires some formula and all to explain this.
No, but what is the significance? When you look at a p-value less than 1 or this is less than 0.001, is it good or bad?
It's
It's
good, I
good.
recall. There's the
Yes.
alpha value, p-value, yes.
Lesser the p-value, it's a good thing. Means
Good value, yeah.
your trend that you are predicting or you're analyzing is closer to what you will get. Right? In all these cases, why the p-value is so less? Because you see the points which are away from the line are little lesser in. They're all pretty much falling on the line. Hence, the p-value is also good value that you're getting. All right, enough of statistics. Is clustering in trend line clear to everyone?
Yes, Ishan.
Yeah.
Sushani.
Okay, so let's do one more thing. Rest you can do very easily. You should not have any problem. Let me talk about few more things in the analytics. So let's say, I want to find out which are the products which have given more than the average sales. I want to find out the products which have given more than the average sales. What should I do?
We have to calculate. First, we have to calculate the average.
Okay. Then
Then
show
need to
it.
create, show it.
So what we can do, we can have product and we can put sales, right? Now, one good thing about this analytics window that we have is a lot of things it can do for us. So if I go to analytics over here, there is something called a constant line. So what constant line does, and these things were there in Power BI also, by the way. So can anybody tell me what a constant line does? Same things were there in Power BI. When should we use a constant line?
Is that to compare the target?
Yes. So if there were certain targets and in my visualization, I wanted to show which are the values which are meeting my target, then I can draw these constant line. And obviously, you can edit the line in terms of it should be a dotted line. What kind of line should it be? Fill above or below. If you want to show all these things, we can create that. So this is working like a target line. That's a work of a constant line, right? Then we have an average line. So the question that I asked, if I visually wanted to understand which are the products which are meeting my criteria, are above average or below average, I can simply go to the analytics pane, drop the average line, and I can get this easily. So this is my average line. And again, if you wanted to edit anything about with respect to it, you can. Let's make this one a little thicker and a blue one. And okay. So this is my average line. Now I can see product number 2, product number 5, product number 6, product number 8, 9, and 11 and 12. These are the products which did above average. Okay. And
My constant line is coming between 20K to 40K.
You did a reference line, I think, not a constant line. When you dropped it, it would have showed a single value to you.
Okay, how to undo that?
Oh,
Okay.
when you dropped it came, you just have to type in. It's a constant line, na? So you give the value to it.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So you have
Shani,
given 80.
how can we take this?
How can we?
How can we take this constant line?
Oh, so listen, okay. So for example, you drag and drop the constant line, correct?
Okay.
Once you drop it, you will see this blinking. This is the area where it needs a value if you want to change it. So that's where I typed in 70,000.
Got it.
Okay. Average line, it will create by itself. No input is required from us.
So it will
Ishani,
decide on which I mean,
go ahead,
what's the criteria for the average?
For which one?
Which lines? Will it pick average of sales?
It'll pick average of sales. However, you can also decide what you want the average of. So you can change, you can put parameter, and based on the parameter, this line can change. So see, this one window that you see is not just for average, it's for everything. But when you drop an average line, this is already preset. That is finding average. There is a value called, what do you call, the measure that you dropped is sales. So sum of sales average it is doing. If I wanted to change this to a target line, I can just make it constant, put a value over here and make it my target line. So this is one common window. Whatever you do in constant, average, average with 95 percentile, median, total, reference line, reference band, distribution band, all of them have this window only. You just play around with this window. That's it. Okay. So I will get back to reference band and all these things. But for now, average line, constant line, clusters, and clustering and trend line. That is what we have covered here.
And if I'm dragging the constant line, not showing the option to type the target.
What is it showing? Nothing. That's okay.
Nothing.
Even if it's showing nothing, right click on it and you can edit. And when you edit, change the value over here.
Okay, just try.
Okay.
Shani, I'm just also trying this. It's not showing this.
What is it showing? Someone share the screen.
I'm sharing the screen.
Okay.
Ishani, how to
One second,
the
one second.
line
I am
create?
dragging the constant line.
Okay. Drop it on table. Yes, leave it. Right click on the line. Right click, edit. There you go. Change the value.
70,000.
Okay. That's it. All right.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Yes.
Ishani, suppose we have made this one line. If I want to get rid of it, how
Just
would I
right click, remove. Right click, remove.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So if I can request you, since I'm leaving you 20 minutes ahead of time today, if you can finish my case study, please. It's
Sure,
not too
Ishani.
much. It'll take you 15-20 minutes, not more than that.
Sure.
Okay. So in that case, once you finish this thing, we can have a quick session and run through the solutions for it.
Ishani, could you please tell me the time for my assessment tomorrow?
SQL?
Yes.
Chanchal knows.
Deepika, that would be after your section tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Okay. So that's it for today. There's a feedback form. Please fill it. I'm so sorry I'm cutting short the lecture today, session today, but I'll definitely make up for the lost time. 10 minutes. I won't put 20 minutes in one particular day. But like tomorrow we'll take 10 minutes extra and we'll cover up the topics. On Monday we'll take 10 minutes extra and cover up the topics. Okay, but we are not done with analytics. We still need to work with the forecast. We need to understand what is reference line, reference band, things that we had created. So we'll work on that as well. All right. And if you can, please finish the case study. That will really help to save time and then we can sit and do the doubt clearing.
Okay,
Sure,
we'll try.
Ishani. Sure, Ishani.
All right. Thank you so much. Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Ishani.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Shani.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.